First proper question, how are you?
Doing fine. It's a beautiful morning here where I am, and yeah, just happy to be here. As I said, talking about new music and all things rock and metal, and just happy to be here, man.
I know we're very happy that you are here. We know what you've been through personally over the past 18 months. And I think I read some of you said you'd be 100% in terms of your fitness by Christmas. How close is that to being the case?
Well, it was Christmas the year it happened, so yeah, they work miracles. These surgeons and doctors and nurses, and I went in. I think it was the end of September 21, and they said, "All well and good, you should be back up and running by Christmas that year." And I pretty much was, and we were back out touring March the following year. So I think I was down for about 5 months, but I got back on the horse pretty quickly. But it actually served as kind of like a medicine, really, to get the guitar back in my hands, get back to touring, get back on it, and sort of get back to, that's who I am. That's what I do. And it's a healing because it brings you back to who you are and what you do. So that can only help.
Now, we just played a bit of the Sentinel from Defenders of the Faith, which is sort of mid-80s Priest. I'm trying to think how old you would have been in 84 when that song was out.
Well, I was born on the first day of 1980, January 1st, 1980, which helps me because I'm crap with maths. So that means that I must have been 4 in 1984. My favourite record from Priest, Defenders of the Faith, and one of my favourite songs of all time, The Sentinel. I mean, how cool is that?
I want to get to your next musical choice, which is Iron Maiden and The Clairvoyant. So based on your maths, you'd have been about 8 when this came out, I think, something like that. What does The Clairvoyant mean to you?
Well, as we were just talking about The Sentinel and the fact that it's got progressive elements, I think Steve's always been interested in the progressive element of music as well, and now I'm thinking about it, The Clairvoyant contains that as well. It's got stops and starts, and it goes backwards and forwards a bit in the journey of the song. I might be wrong in saying I think Steve's a Rush fan. I think he's influenced by the progressive side of, things. And you can hear that all over Maiden's music, but he does it in such a way that it doesn't lose you. Some progressive music loses me. It's too much for me, but Maiden's always done it in a way that makes absolute sense. And I saw them, and they played this live. I can't remember if it was the Somewhere Back in Time tour or the one after. I can't remember which one it was, but they played it live, and it was just phenomenal. The atmosphere, the imagery from the stage, the imagery from the song, the clairvoyant looking into the future and all that sort of stuff. It's just giving me chills thinking about it. It just takes you to another place, which in my mind is what music should do,
So at what age did you first pick up a guitar or any other musical instrument? I guess you wouldn't have had to start with the guitar. And who pushed you that way?
Well, I think I was around 7 or 8, if I remember correctly. And my father was into guitar and Hendrix and Sabbath, and he actually gave me the middle name of Ian. So my initials are RIF. So he knew what he was doing. He was literally curating a riff. Dad still plays guitar. He still calls me up, says, listen to this, and he plays me riffs on the guitar, and I steal them and put them into my music, of course. But that's who got me into it in the first place.
Now let's go to your next song selection, Richie, which is one of your bandmates who you recorded the Elegant Weapons album with. That's Rex from Pantera. I'm Broken is... I love this tune. Pantera, I got to see... I was lucky. I saw them at Rock City when Vulgar Display of Power had just broken. And it was terrifying, brilliantly terrifying. I'd never seen stage diving before. It went on all night. Yeah, I'm Broken from that follow-up album to Vulgar Display of Power, which was always going to be pressure for them to deliver. It just crushes, doesn't it?
Oh, and it's phenomenal. It stands up today. It was back then. I mean, I was listening again to Maiden. I was quite blinkered at the time. I was early teens. I was listening to Maiden, Metallica, pretty much religiously. That was it. That was all I listened to. And then Pantera came along, and it was the three of them. And it was just the right amount of aggression and technicality and melody. There's melody in there as well. There's it's not all kind of over the top aggression. There's melody in there. You can latch onto it. And I'm not normally a fan of that kind of vocal, but Philip Anselmo, he had something about him that was just perfect for that band, perfect for that music. And he's a great singer as well. There's a lot of that earlier stuff where there was a lot of melody in there. And actually, I don't know if I've told anyone this before. We did a Spirit of the Glass once. A friend of mine had a house party, and we were doing a Ouija board in one of the bedrooms, and we were being a bit disrespectful to it. You know, whether you believe in that stuff or not, I don't know if I do, but it was fun none the same. And we were being a bit disrespectful to the Ouija board, and a CD case flew across the room, and it was Far Beyond Driven. That was another Pantera connection. But yeah, I just thought they were phenomenal. The music is timeless and stands up today, and it's just one of my favourite tracks of all time.
So how did you and Rex first meet? Because obviously Rex Brown, the Pantera bass player, is part of the Elegant Weapons studio setup. So how did you two first meet?
I met Rex years ago at a NAMM show. I think we were there with EMG, the pickup company. And I just called him up, really. And I said, listen, I've got this record that I've recorded demos for. Would you do me the honor of recording bass? And I had no idea. Rex is a busy guy, as we know. You know, he's got stuff going on. And I was fortunate enough that he said yeah, and he dug the tunes and he recorded bass. And as soon as he sent the bass stuff over, it was just unmistakable. It had the grit and the grime and the punch that you'd expect from a Rex Brown bass track. It was just phenomenal. So I'm just fortunate that he was able to do it.
You've picked Sabbath and specifically Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath as your next tune, Richie. This again is kind of early 70s before you were on the planet. So was this something your dad introduced you to?
Absolutely, yeah. I've got him to thank for that again. Can't remember I think it was the Master Reality record that he introduced me to. I mean, my favourite Sabbath record is either Master Reality or Volume 4. But Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, I just love the progression, the chord progression. I love the melody. I mean, I don't think Ozzy gets enough credit, really. Those melodies, I know Geezer wrote a lot of the lyrics, but those, when Ozzy went solo, those melodies didn't go away. I think it was Ozzy's influence from the Beatles, I love the melodies that Ozzy comes up with, and just the way his voice sounds and how he kind of communicates those lyrics that Geezer wrote. I mean, it's just phenomenal. And there was nothing like that before. It's like Priest, they created that stuff. It's easy for me to do because I can just listen to Defenders of the Faith and what about that inspires me to write something like that? But they created that stuff. It's phenomenal to think. And those melodies and that heaviness and that chord progression, it's just phenomenal. It's definitely it's my favourite Sabbath track ever.
Well, look, you picked a Sabbath track, but you've also picked an Ozzy track. We've already explained your love for Ozzy's melodic sensibilities. Obviously, you've been hoping to tour with Oz as Priest. It hasn't happened. What's it been like sort of sitting around the sort of hurry up and wait aspect of wondering whether this tour was ever actually going to happen with Ozzy?
Well, it's been frustrating, Obviously, the main thing is Ozzy's health first and foremost, but it's been frustrating, and we understand it's been frustrating for our fans in the UK as well that hasn't seen Priest since the Firepower tour. No, we did since the Redeemer Souls tour. That's what I mean. We haven't been there. We were supposed to be over there in 2019. That didn't happen. It got put back. So it's incredibly frustrating for us as well as the fans, So we've just announced some dates coming over to the UK in March of 24. So we're really excited to be coming back over to the UK. We've done Bloodstock and stuff like that, like one-off shows, Bloodstock in Derby. But to do a string of dates in the UK is just like coming home for us, so we can't wait to do it. And we're bringing Saxon with us and Uriah Heep. So it's going to be a great celebration of heavy music, great music. And we can't wait. So, we'll see you all there, hopefully. Yeah. Now, you picked Crazy Train by Ozzy. Why have you gone for that one? I mean, how could you not? I mean, just that riff at the beginning, Randy Rhoads, it's a major melody, major key on the verse. It's kind of, but it doesn't feel like a happy melody. It's just attitude and, blazing guitar. And just Randy Rhoads, you can't say enough about, obviously, and what he did. And again, at that time, like we were talking about Sabbath in that time, or Randy Rhoads at that time, just the influence of the guy, and paired with Ozzy, with those melodies and that sensibilities, as you said, just phenomenal. The riff at the beginning, second to none. Like that's one of the riffs I wish I'd written. Just that riff in F sharp, just a masterful. I mean, it's almost a pop song disguised as a heavy metal track. You know, it's just masterful.
Your final one I've got here, you've got a Def Leppard, another hit and run, proper early Def Leppard.
What a song that is. I mean, I was going to do a NAMM show once. And I think it was a band called Metal Allegiance, and they get together and they play songs, you know, from different bands. And that was one I was going to play. And at the last minute, no one had learnt it apart from me. And I was really bummed because I was like, I knew half of it already. I just had to brush up on a few bits and pieces. I was really excited to play it. Leopard, I mean, back then, I mean, they were kind of a metal band back then. You know, I don't know if you could argue that they're not anymore. I don't know. I don't really know what metal is anymore. But back then, I think you could argue that they were. And it's just a great metal track, but kind of with melodies and pop elements and well put together. And I just love the track. I'd love to maybe that'll be a cover one day.
Now, before we let you go, we must ask you about at what stage the next Judas Priest album is, because I know it's come together kind of piecemeal up to this point. So where are we?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think we've finished tracking. I think we've got to mix it, we've got to master it, and then we've got to manufacture the thing. So it's got to actually physically be made. But I think everything's been recorded. Vocals were the last thing we needed to do, and I think Rob's done them. So, and it's sounding fantastic. It's sounding great. Obviously, I'm going to say that, but if it didn't sound great, we wouldn't be bothering. You've got to do something that's what we think is better than the last one, so to speak. And if it wasn't, the Priests don't need to do that.
Well, there's a lot of bands out there that don't make new music, and they make a point of not making new music. These heritage artists who say it's counterproductive, it doesn't do anything, fans don't want to hear it. What's your position?
Well, I mean, mine's a bit different. I'm a bit younger than the rest of the guys, but I think Priests have always, you know, from what I get from the guys, there's always a drive to do something better than the last one, whether it's an album, the tour, the production, the song, the performance. And I think that comes from the fans that have put them there for over 50 years. You know, it's kind of like a paying back for that commitment of the fans. And I think that's partly where it comes from. Obviously, they love their craft. They love what they do, as we love what we do. But I think there's always a drive to do something that's better, bigger, sounds better, whatever it may be. And I think that one of the driving forces is the fan commitment that they've had for over 50 years has put them there. So you can totally get that. So I think that's part of it for sure.
Richie, it's been an absolute delight to meet you and talk to you. And I look forward to meeting you in person up the mountain when Elegant Weapons get to Steelhouse at the end of July. But all the best for the new album and for these upcoming dates. And stay well, sir.
Thank you, brother. It's been a pleasure. So, see you up the mountain.